In today's video, we're going to be going over the best way to grind out the new Dark Aether Zone to get the schematics, any of the rare acquisitions, or anything that you guys are trying to get out of the new Dark Aether Zone. But quickly before we get into today's video, if you guys are new around here, be sure to subscribe to the channel, notifications, turn on to miss any more videos on the channel. If you do enjoy it, smash thumbs up, and let me know your thoughts on this Season 2 Reloaded update in the comments below, and if you're enjoying the new Dark Aether. But let's get into it as of right now. So once you go into the Dark Aether, of course, your three main objectives are to complete every single contract within the game. Completing these is obviously going to give you a reward rift, which is going to be where you can get the schematics from, the acquisitions, and any of the loot that you could possibly come out of the Dark Aether Zone. Of course, none of them are guaranteed to drop you a schematic. You're not always going to guarantee yourself a schematic every single time you go into the Dark Aether. I've now done 3 runs of this, and I believe I've only come out with the VR11 schematic as of so far. But I've got a fair few acquisitions. I've got Mags of Holding acquisition at one point. I got a couple of Bloodburner key acquisitions so I can spawn into my next game with those. So you can get some very nice loot from these. And of course, if you guys have been playing the recent Dark Aether Zone, you know, you've been grinding that, trying to get the best acquisitions and stuff out of that as well. You just use the similar loadout to what you've been using. It's exactly the same sort of difficulty. There's no harder zone. It's not any harder than the previous one. So if you guys were doing the last one and you felt pretty comfortable, do exactly what you was doing for that other one and go into the new one, and you're going to feel just exactly the same in that sort of situation. So as you can see up on screen right now, here is where all 3 of the contracts do spawn. You're going to have a bounty contract, which is going to be take down a Mega Abomination. You're then going to get an Outlast contract, and you are then going to get an Extractor contract. So just like the previous Dark Aether, we have got an Outlast contract and an Aether Extractor contract. But then instead of an Escort contract, we have got a Bounty contract this time round. So it is a little bit different in that aspect, but the other 2 play out exactly the same. Exactly the same strategies. Outlast one is pretty easy, especially if you've got quite a big team doing this. You just got to hold down the room. The zombies are going to spawn from either side of you, to the left and the right. I've not noticed too many coming from the back, so I don't know if they do spawn from behind, but you probably just want to focus on the left and right hand side. You know, for the Extractor one, again, so you can either use a decoy grenade, you can use your field upgrades to actually try and take out the zombies whilst, you know, you're overloading the Extractor or whatever it might be. Do it exactly the same way as you was doing the last one. It's going to work in exactly the same way. Take out all 3. Contract is completed. For the Outlast, of course, you want to get up to 100%, and that is going to finish the contract that way around. They're really not too difficult to do. I really didn't struggle. As you can see in the gameplay, I think there's about 5 or 6 of us on the team, so it made it very, very nice to do. And then for the Bounty contract, guys, it is going to be against a Mega Abomination. The one thing I will say for this, you are going to be going into a low visibility zone, so just bear that in mind, because it's not going to be the clearest. You might want to take things like sentry turrets in and things like that as score streaks, so you can place them down, make it a little bit easier to take down the Mega Abomination. But again, same as any Mega Abomination in the tier 3 zone, it's very, very simple to do. Just wait for those mouths to open up, pop them when they're shooting their lasers, you know, do it that way. Every time you can hit critical shots, just make sure you're hitting them as much as you can. And again, if you've got a squad of 4, 5 or 6, should go down nice and quickly. You can see in the gameplay behind me, it doesn't take us long to take down this Mega Abomination at all. Okay, it's a bounty target. Okay, we're in the Dark Aether Zone, so it's got a little bit extra health. But overall, it just doesn't really take too long to take it down. Again, you're going to get a nice reward rift for this. You can get yourself some decent loot. You could potentially have some acquisitions or schematics drop out of this. Again, for the Outlast one, like I said, you just want to hold it down. Again, you could go for something like a score streak if you wanted to, put a sentry turret down in that little room, because it is a little bit more difficult than the last zone. Because as you guys know, in the last zone, you could just run up the balcony, jump off the end, jump up the stairs, run around again, and you could basically do the Outlast contract without even shooting at one zombie at all. Whereas this one's a little bit more difficult. You are ground level. There's nothing to jump up on. There's no way of running around the zombies. Of course, you've got to stay in the zone to tick it up. But again, it's not too difficult to do. You can sort of sit in the room like you can see me and the rest of the team doing, spraying out of those windows to the left and the right hand side where the zombies are going to be spawning, taking them out nice and quickly. You probably could do this a solo run. I don't really recommend it. Of course, if you've got a squad to do it with, why wouldn't you? It's going to make it a lot easier. You're still going to get the same loot and the same rewards, but you can definitely do it solo. It is just going to be a little bit more difficult, and I think this Outlast contract might make it a little bit more difficult than the previous one if you guys are planning on doing this solo. And then, like I said, for the Extractor contract, you are just going to have to go and get it, start the contract up, go and then overrun all 3 Extractors. Like I said before, though, use your decoy grenades, your Kaiser grenades, whatever it might be, that's going to take those zombies away from you, take the attention away from you, or you can put something on the ground like one of your field upgrades, pop one of those down. It's then going to make the zombies not be able to see you, or, you know, you got the field mine you could put down, which is just going to take out a load of zombies for free burst, allowing you to get those kills nice and easy. And then you can overload the reactor very, very easily without being attacked by too many zombies. So overall, not too difficult to do. The one thing I will say is where those contracts do spawn, guys, they are going to be on top of the building. So the bounty one, as we can see the map again, the bounty one is going to be on top of that building there. You've got the Extractor one, which is again going to be on top of that building. And then the Outlast one, I believe, is on top of the one in E7. But as you can see, they've got all the coordinates as well. So you've got C5 where the bounty is, literally right next to where you spawn. Just spawn in, run backwards, grab that one, go and kill the Mega Abomination. You can then loop round into the Outlast one, start that. That's going to start up next to the extractor one. So then once you finish the Outlast, you can go straight to the extractor contract, pick that one up, then go and complete that, and then you are able to exfil. And then as you can see, you have got the exfil zone up there in the top corner. So that is where you're going to go and exfil once you've completed all 3 contracts. Of course, there's no reason to stay in the game any longer once you've done all 3 contracts, because that is quite literally all you can do that in the Dark Aether zone. They're the only things that are going to drop you any loot. That's the only time you're going to get any rewards, get any schematics, any acquisitions, or anything like that. So if you guys have got a class setup that you've been enjoying using in the previous Dark Aether zones, or you just think slaps in tier 3, I'm sure you will be comfortable enough to take that in. The one thing you obviously want to make sure you've got is maybe a couple spare self-revives. You might want to go with a couple score streaks. Like I said, sentry turrets are pretty good. You could use Juggernaut if you wanted to. And then make sure you've got all of your perks as well. Your PhD flopper, Stamina Up, Juggernog, all of those sort of things that are going to make the zone a little bit easier. And of course, if you've got them, go ahead, put on the Aether Blade case, the golden plates, all of that sort of stuff. Take a dog bone in so you can spawn in with a dog. It's going to make it even easier. And like I said, if you've got a full squad, it's going to make it very easy. It's really not a bad zone at all. Found it pretty easy. Got around the map nice and easily. Managed to do the contracts without any too many problems. Like I said, I've done it 2 or 3 times now, and I don't think I've had any difficulties with completing any of the contracts or running around the zone or anything in particular. The only thing I will say, for some reason, half my map disappears when I'm running around, so that's a little bit annoying. And if anyone actually knows how to fix that while I talk about it, please do let me know in the comments below. The map just seems to disappear. Don't know why, but hopefully you guys don't come up with that problem as well. Of course, just make sure you stand on top of your ammo when you're coming up against the contracts, you know, because the Outlast one, you are going to be firing quite a few rounds while the timer is going up. And then of course for the bounty, you are taking down a Mega Abomination. There are going to be other zombies around, so just try and make sure you are on top of your ammunition as much as you possibly can, simply for the reason you don't want to be in a position where you're running out of ammo. But overall, it's a really enjoyable Dark Aether experience. I'm not going to lie, it's a nice and refreshing feel, because obviously it's brand new. It's nice and refreshing, it feels good. The contracts aren't really too difficult to complete, but they also do have a little bit of a challenge aspect, which means it's not super boring whilst you're doing it. And yeah, I just genuinely think it's a lot of fun. Like I said, you can get some cool acquisitions as well. You got all 3 new schematics you can get as well. The VR11 case, you have then got the Mags of Holden perk, and then of course you've got the Blood Burner key schematic as well. So those are the 3 new schematics you can get out of this Dark Aether zone. But like I said, you can get some acquisitions as well. So, you know, you can go in and get the acquisition for the Mags of Holden, which you'll see in this video I do pick up at one point. I don't get the schematic, but I do get the acquisition, so I can then load it to my next game. Just pop that perk straight away and I'll have it equipped. So yeah, it's a very enjoyable experience. If you guys are struggling with anything, please do let me know in the comments below. I will do my very best to help you guys out as much as I can. I'm going to be dropping a video in the very near future as well, talking about the best guns for you guys to use in the Dark Aether zone. So if you're struggling to find a good gun, I'll be dropping a video very shortly, which will show you guys the best guns that you guys can go ahead and use in this Dark Aether zone. So make sure you subscribe with notifications turned on so that you don't miss any of that. If you have enjoyed today's video and it has helped you out, please be sure to smash a thumbs up, as it helps me out way more than you can imagine. Like I said, any more questions, leave them in the comments. I'll do my very best to answer them. There's a whole bunch of zombies content on the channel that I think you guys will really enjoy, so make sure you go ahead and check that out if you haven't already. And if you do enjoy it, make sure you subscribe with notifications turned on. But I'm gonna leave the video there, guys. I appreciate you watching all the way to the end. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I will catch you on the next one in a bit. Peace.